Hey Merbabes, so we're probably hungry for dinner and it looks like we've got a bunch of things out for a Tuscan chicken pasta. Now, what I want you to focus on is prepping yourself as much as you can in advance for the meal items before we actually get them onto the stove to cook. So what I would suggest right now is if you can, get your chicken and cut it up into 1 to 2 inch pieces. What I did here is a little bit bite-sized pieces and then I put it into a large mixing bowl. So what I'm gonna have us do is the sun-dried tomatoes that I have here, I drain them out and put 2 tablespoons of olive oil in here. If there's a little bit extra, that's okay, you can always toss it in. But I have a half cup of grated Parmesan cheese, or shredded if you'd like as well. Minced garlic, 3 to 4 tablespoons, so I've used 3. 2 tablespoons of flour, some Italian seasoning. I have 3 cups of milk, 3 cups of baby spinach, 8 ounces of dry pasta, and then like I said, Italian seasoning with some salt and pepper will get that started. So what I'm gonna have us do is go with the chicken first, and what I'm gonna pour in here is the olive oil, coat it all up in there. And the Italian seasoning I believe I still have, as well as the garlic. So I'm gonna pour in the Italian seasoning, pour in the minced garlic, and I believe, just as I suspected, I'm going to pull out the last little bit of the minced garlic in here. So using the same spoon, you can actually use this spoon to mix up the chicken. So I can already tell, man, this is gonna smell so good and taste even better. So now that the chicken is fully coated, it's ready to go into our skillet. So I'm gonna put it into the skillet. While I do that, I'm going to get the water started and just at least start boiling the pasta. I know that that's probably something that you can do later on into this once the chicken is cooked, but why not take care of it all at once? So I'll meet you over in the stove.
All right, so with the stove, I'm gonna heat up All right, and we'll go ahead and boil up the water. So I put about 6 cups of water in here. I'm gonna light this up on high just to get it boiling first. And also, don't forget to add the salt. Salt's gonna help it boil even faster. So we'll bring this to a boil. In the meantime, the chicken is cooking right now. Once the chicken cooks a little bit more, or all the way through, I should say, then we'll go ahead and add the milk and flour. But right now, for the meantime, I'm gonna whisk that together. So I'm gonna grab my whisk, get the flour and milk put together, and we'll get that going. So here's our 3 cups of milk, 2 tablespoons of flour, and then just making sure that there's no lumps in this as we mix it together. All right, it looks pretty frothy and good to go. Nice thick milk right there. Love it. Okay, so now that the chicken is cooking, we're gonna wait till that turns to about a golden brown color. I'm also realizing you probably can't hear me with the exhaust, so we're gonna turn this to a golden brown color and make sure that's cooked all the way through, and then we'll add the sun-dried tomatoes and cook it for about another 5 to 7 minutes in there. Really soak up the flavor of the sun-dried tomatoes. Now that the pot is pretty much ready to go, it's boiling now, I'm gonna toss this in here. So it's about 8 ounces of pasta. And you wanna cook the pasta for about 10 to 12 minutes until it's about al dente. So al dente means that it's soft to chew, but still, I like a little bit more of that thicker. I don't want them overcooked or too soft. So 10 minutes is probably where I'm gonna go for here. I'm gonna put that timer on it. Now, once the chicken is cooked with the sun-dried tomatoes, we'll add the milk in here. Looks like it's starting to get that golden brown color. Let me just go ahead and give it a little toss. So you can see how the coloring's coming through. Some of these pieces are starting to turn into that golden brown color. And the flavor, you can just smell with the garlic and the olive oil from the sun-dried tomatoes, even that Italian seasoning, all smells amazing. So just gonna give this another couple minutes, and then we'll add the sun-dried tomatoes in there. Another 5 to 7 minutes after that, we'll add in the milk. All right, so the sun-dried tomatoes are ready to go in. The chicken looks amazing, nice and brown, and starting to crisp up and cook all the way. I'm also gonna turn this down to about medium for the last few minutes. and then just soak these in. Probably right after I take the pasta out, I'll go ahead and add in the flour and milk.
Okay, so the pasta is ready to go. I'm gonna just strain it into the sink here. I don't know if that's gonna stay, but we'll see if we can do our best. See if we can get all the excess water out. Oh man, these look like they're cooked perfectly. I'm actually gonna put them back into the bowl so that way we can add the rest of the pasta in here, and then I'll put this back onto the stove.
So it's nice and ready to go. These are almost done cooking. They look and smell amazing, by the way. We're about ready to add in the milk and eventually the baby spinach. All right, so now that these sun-dried tomatoes have had some time to cook, slowly add in the milk with flour. Really make sure I stir it all in. And if you're wanting to avoid splashing yourself at all, which could happen, I would suggest turning it down to about medium-low temperature, just a little bit lower. And we'll let that simmer again for another few minutes, and then we'll add in the baby spinach, have that cook through even more, and then we'll add it all together with the pasta. All right, so time to add in our baby spinach. Just gonna mix it in here a little bit at a time. Make sure it's nice and coated. Flavors are definitely coming through. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of spinning in the spinach, and it's gonna wither, or even I should say melt a little bit into the pasta as it starts to kind of lose its form or shape. You'll see it start to soak up everything as it gets wet. So, okay, so I just turned off the stove. And now that the stove is off, the last thing I want to do is just go ahead and add this into the pasta. So make sure that we're careful and safe. This is a little bit. Now, if you're like me and you want to scavenge up every last little bit that you can, hello, that could be another bite right there of just pure pasta sauce. Now just look at how amazing this looks. Now the last thing that we have to add is just the half cup of grated or shredded Parmesan cheese. So let me go ahead and grab that real quick, and we'll add that in here. I'm going to use a big spoon, scoop this out. Now we're just gonna stir it all the way through. OMG, this is amazing. I'm super excited to try this. My family and I are gonna sit down for dinner tonight, so we're gonna let you know how it is. Obviously, I'm sure we won't disappoint. Ah, look at that. Alrighty, everyone. I hope you enjoy your dinner, and I'll catch you in the next one.